Howdy neighbors, I'm Mac McCarty with the Rough and Tumble channel. I had the opportunity the other day to visit with one of my oil field buddies, Bob Harrington. Worked for years for Amoco Production Company, and I did work down there quite a bit for Amoco, and was a real pleasure to get to see Bob again. And we shared a lot of the old times and talked about, you know, the things that we did and shared stories about people we know. And Bob shared a good story with me and said I could share this with y'all. And so thanks again, Bob Harrington. And this story goes back to, well, Bob had worked, I got to know him on the Amoco Siler down there, and that's whole south end. And he had transferred up to Longview area. And he told me this story about one of the pumpers up there. And he said this old boy had gone out on a lease up there in the north end of the field. And there was a vehicle out there on lease, parked right there on the lease, that didn't belong there. And he walked over there to check this out, and there was a dead man in that vehicle. Well, that shook him up pretty good, you know, and Bob said, guy kind of tend to be a little bit scaredy anyway, you know, shaky, and and so, you know, that kind of shook him up. Well, I don't guess seeing a dead man in the vehicle would do much for anybody's day. But anyway, it kind of made him nervous. And so from then on, he was always watching everywhere out on these leases, you know, afraid he might see something else like this again. Well, it doesn't take long for some of these old oil field hands to pick up on something like that and then pull their stunts, you know, do a little agitating, you know, as it were. And one of these old boys was constantly pulling stunts on people. And he seized on the opportunity to nail this pumper here that was nervous after seeing this dead man on his lease. So he got him some walkie-talkies, and he stuck one of them in the end of a piece of pipe there around the tank battery, because he knew where this pumper would come and check and what have you. And he and I think there was more than one, and they were hiding in the woods there and watching all this. That pumper comes driving in there, parks his vehicle, the company truck, and gets out, and he walks over to either the header or something there anyway, and he's looking it over. But you know, as he got out of his vehicle, he looks over here, and he looks over there, and he's gingerly walking around, and he's making sure there isn't anything out of the way out there, you know. He's being cautious. And so he gets over there and he's looking at this stuff that he had to look at, and all of a sudden that nut on the other end of that walkie-talkie says, "Help!" And that pumper just, he's looking around nervously, you know, and he's walking around there, and he kind of steps over here and looks, steps over there and looks, and then he kind of, well, okay, maybe I'm just hearing things. Goes back to doing what he was doing. Help! And boy, I mean, that rattled that boy so bad, he took off running. He ran past the truck, his company truck, went way past us, headed down the road. He was 7 miles from the office. I guess he was planning on running 7 miles. He wasn't going to stay around to see what was happening. And them boys carried him high. Man, I mean, they gave him fits about that, you know. And it is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. Thanks, Bob, for that story. I got a big kick out of it myself. Sure good to see you. Look forward to seeing you again. And some of you other guys, let us know some of these stories so we can share them and keep these memories alive. Oil field was a real hoot. I appreciate a like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Mike McCarty saying so long for the Rough and Tumble channel.